February is American Heart Health Month, and according to the Cleveland Clinic's 2018 Heart Health Survey, a majority, 3 in 5 Americans, know very little about heart health. Here to help us understand our hearts better and what to do in a heart-related emergency, we have Dr. Emmer Joyce from the Cleveland Clinic. Welcome to the show. Great to talk with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Great to be here.
Yeah, so why is it important for people to be informed about their heart health?
Well, great question. It's so important for all Americans to be accurately informed about their heart health, because heart disease remains the #1 cause of death here in the US and around the world. And for example, each year, over 700,000 Americans will experience a heart attack, which can have quite serious and/or fatal consequences. And the survey showed us that most Americans do not know how to correctly identify the symptoms of or how to respond appropriately to a heart emergency such as a heart attack.
So what's the first step we should take?
I think the first step that we should take is arming ourselves with the knowledge of being aware of what the symptoms of a heart attack or a suspected heart attack might be. We talk about both typical symptoms and less typical symptoms. So firstly, to go through what those typical symptoms might be. You might expect to experience a sudden onset of chest pain or shortness of breath in the chest area. The chest pain may be described as a tightening or a squeezing or a pressure pain, radiating or traveling to one or both arms, up into the jaw or even into the back. Sudden onset of difficulty breathing or feeling acutely short of breath can also be a typical symptom. It's important to also remember, and something the survey also showed us, that many Americans don't know there can be less typical symptoms of a heart attack. And these can include sudden onset of nausea and vomiting, epigastric or upper stomach pain or heartburn, sweating, palpitations, feeling the heart is racing. So these can also be heart attack indicators and need to be checked out.
Yeah, and a lot of people confuse a heart attack with a stroke as well. Is that correct?
That was certainly one of the misconceptions that came forth from the survey. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to clarify. So they're 2 emergent conditions, but they have 2 quite different treatments and do present differently. So we've just gone through earlier the symptoms of a heart attack, both typical and less typical. So just to go through the typical presentation of a stroke, what might you feel? Well, classically, a stroke may present with a sudden onset of numbness or weakness on one side of the face or one side of the body, either an arm or a leg or both, and slurred speech. So these are the more classic symptoms of a stroke compared to the earlier symptoms we described that might suggest a heart attack.
So if someone is having a heart attack, what are the life-saving steps we should all know?
Very important. That's a very important question and component of the survey. So to remember, we have an acronym, and the Cleveland Clinic has designed known as SCAN, S-C-A-N, to help to remember the steps to take when you or your loved one might be having a heart attack or a suspected heart attack. The S stands for symptoms that we've talked about. The C stands for call 911, essential first step. The A stands for aspirin. If you have aspirin to hand, chew an aspirin. And the N stands for nitroglycerin. If you have been prescribed nitroglycerin or nitro pill, as are commonly known as, by your heart doctor or your doctor, then take a nitroglycerin pill while you wait for the emergency personnel to come to your home.
That's great information. So before we go, where can our viewers go for more information on all of this?
We'd love your viewers to go and log on to our website, which contains lots more information about the survey and related topics. It's clevelandclinic.org/loveyourheart.
All right, Dr. Joyce, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.